All right, here we go. Evercoat Super Bel 4-to-1 Optex Polyester Primer with a built-in guide coat. Worked it for 4 days. Sprayed it, sanded it, decked it, got it all ready. In this video, I'm going to start off with all my recommendations first, and then after that, you can watch me work if you're interested in continuing. But you're interested in seeing how this gets done this week? Stay tuned. Either one of two things. You're either a subscriber and you follow my journey as I'm restoring this 56 Bel Air, or you tuned in because you're curious about this Evercoat Super Bel Polyester Primer, Optex with the built-in guide coat. So, I decided to do this video differently. I recorded a lot of footage of me sanding and getting this car ready and sanding this down and showing you how this product behaves. But I decided what I was going to do is let's just cue it up to the good part right now. Let's just go ahead and give you some feedback on what I think about this product. So, here we go. Is it worth it? I'm going to save that one for last. So, all right. This is Evercoat Optex Super Bel 4-to-1. It's a polyester primer. It has a guide coat built in. I sprayed it with a Harbor Freight gun. This is a pressure pot. This thing throws down this material. This gun, this primer, match made in heaven. Go ahead and spend your $25 on this if you're going to spend $175 on this one. So let me set this down. All right. So, how does the product lay down? Product sprays great, lays down great. It gives you a bit of an orange peel. Yeah, I think you have to thin it in order to apply it. So that would be my first recommendation. Get that pressure pot gun. Thin your product. It allows you to thin it as much as 10%. I'd take the 10%, build it up in a couple of coats instead of one coat. That's the first thing. Second thing, don't start until your body work is really close. This is not a miracle cure. It'll help you level and deck it and get it all blocked. It'll do that. But the issue is when you spray it, if you got body work that's still has a little ways to go, you're going to be spraying that on top of the good stuff and the bad stuff, and you got to sand through all of it to get to the good stuff. So I found myself with a couple of spots that I probably should have done more work on, but I wanted to spray that this weekend, and I did. So, truth be told though, this is the 4th day. That was last week and I sprayed it. So I should have done a little bit more body work and done a little more prep before getting to this stage. I'd have had a better result, or I would have had to work a lot less. So that brings me to my next point. This stuff sands like a brick. It is the Rock of Gibraltar. It is hard to sand. So they recommend in the can sanding it with 180. First thing I did was I grabbed a Durablock block sander and tried to sand it by hand. Durablock by hand, 180, no way, no how. This was after maybe 4 hours of cure. They tell you can start sanding it after 2. No. I ended up sanding this entire car with 80 grit. So I also use my air file, an air sander to do it, and that's what I'd recommend. I'd definitely recommend air tools. Don't do it by hand. If you think you can do it by hand, man, that's a lot of ridiculous amount of work. Don't do it with 180. You're going to probably have to start with 80 and then come back up to some finer grits after you get it sanded down. So there's that. And at the end of the day though, here's the good part. Does it level? Absolutely. I would highly recommend this product if you're ready to go after a smooth finish, but you got to catch all of those other points I just made beforehand, because if not, you're probably wasting your time. So is it worth it? Should I have just gone with a basic high build primer like I'm going to do tomorrow or do tonight? I'm going to spray this after I finish recording this. I'm going to go ahead and shoot this with some Roberlo DTM high build primer. Should I have just gone with that only? I don't know. You know, that sands so much easier than this. Roberlo Maxi Fill and Maxi Light, the fillers that I'm using, they sand a crazy amount easier than this. So you know, I think I would recommend it, but like I said, you got to be at that stage ready for it. And if you're not, don't jump the gun. Don't do it too early. And be prepared to work. It's going to be this what's coming up here. You're going to see 4 days worth of work between shooting it, letting it cure, sanding it, coming back, sanding it some more, touching it up, sanding that, more body work in the low spots, sanding that, and then eventually I finally said, you know, forget it. I'm just going to go ahead and just use body filler. I didn't come back because you got to wait for this to cure for a few hours, and it's like body filler, you can sand it inside of 30 minutes. So that's where I've been for the last few days, is using a little bit more body filler to get this done. But anyway, if you're interested in seeing how this product sands out, here it comes. All right, welcome back to Restoring Christine. This morning, we primed Christine with this Evercoat Optex Super Build 4-to-1 Polyester Primer using a $25 Harbor Freight low volume, low pressure pot paint gun. It did a terrific job. This Optex, the reason why they call it Optex is you see Christine is pink. That's the guide coat. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and block sand it with 150 or 180. Yeah, 180. I'm going to block sand it with 180, and we're going to see what we're dealing with. So here we go. All right, so if you've been tuned into my channel, regulars of my channel will know that Christine's been through the ringer as far as body work goes. I've done a lot of sheet metal work, made a lot of patches on Christine. We changed the floor pan, trunk pan, rear quarter panels. Of course, the bottom corners of the front fenders, the door skins are new, at least the lower sections of them are. There's a lot of new sheet metal on here. There's a lot of body filler on here to get it straight. So everything's welded. The body filler I was using was Roberlo Maxi Fill and Maxi Light, and I'm past that. I also used a Roberlo DTM primer on top of all that, and surfaced it as best I could. But I thought I'd give this this high build polyester primer a shot, and so that's basically Bondo in a can. You spray it, it fills, it builds up some millage, and then you block sand it. This particular product is Optex by Evercoat. It was super pink in the can. It's pink on Christine, and it's supposed to sand gray. So I'm going to do a little bit with the block sander. I'm going to DuraBlock with 180 on it. I'm going to do a little bit by hand, but I'll probably do a lot of this with the air sander, with the jitterbug, with the air file. So let's see what this looks like. I'm excited to see what it's going to do. I mean, I'm going on faith. So I'm noticing on this fender, I went down through it, and I've got a piece of metal, a section of metal shining here, and a section of metal shining there, and I'm just starting to hit the filler right here, or the primer. So what I'm going to have to probably do, I used a half gallon to do everything I did, or a little less than a half gallon. So I'm going to go ahead and continue sanding all this, and let's see what it looks like, and let's see what this product does. But I'm not going to let you watch me by hand. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the jitterbug, and we're going to do this with air. So here we go. All right, let me show you what's going on. I got the front fender mostly done, and this is a problem area, but you can see what's going on here. I've started to scuff the metal here, so that's a high spot, but that is underneath the stainless, so this is always going to be a little warped. Starting to scuff the metal here, getting into a little body filler here, but let me tell you, boy, I mean, you calibrated hand, Holy cow, this feels really good. Wow. I mean, I've got a little bit more sanding to go through here. You can see the orange peel. See the orange peel at 180 is gumming up a little bit. At the top, you know, this is all blending nicely. I still need to work it a little bit. So what I'm envisioning now, see, like this is a low spot. Little bit low, but not enough to warrant actually spreading some filler and sanding it. No. What I'm planning on doing is once I sand, block sand everything, wherever I'm low, I'm gonna go get that primer. I'm gonna shoot that primer again in the low spots, let that cure, hit that, and that ought to do it. So we're gonna continue working on it, but I'm very, very pleased. All right, let me show you what's going on. So this primer, this filler primer, this polyester primer is very, very hard. It's very hard to sand with 180, so I had to switch to 80 grit, and I'm having much better luck. I hate that I've got to go that coarse, but that's what it's taking. So I've hit it with 80. I'm trying not to over gouge it. You can see what it's doing. It's showing up like little, here you go, little holiday here, little pink dimples here, a few here. So I can either try to continue to sand this, or I can mark this and come back and hit this with primer again in a little while, which I think I'm gonna do. But that's what it's doing. So I've got the door and the front quarter panel sanded. And let me tell you, it's taking a long time to do that. So in the process of doing that, I'm shooting in a garage, and even though I've got my air conditioner on, my air conditioner, which is also a cell phone cooler, you can stick your cell phone in there when it overheats and it stops recording. And that's what it's been doing. It's been stopping recording because the cell phone keeps overheating. So I'm not gonna be able to do hyperlapse continuously through all this. It would probably bore you to tears anyway. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and continue sanding this. I'm gonna continue sweating my tail off, trying to keep cool, trying not to breathe in the pillar of dust that I'm creating, and get this thing done. But hang around, because we're gonna continue on this journey and get her done. Be back soon. All right, we're making progress, but it is hot, hot, hot. I have my attic fan on, which pulls hot air up, out of the attic space. I have my air conditioner on full blast. I got the door shut. It is just blazing hot in here still. But it took me about an hour and a half to do this entire driver's side, because that primer's hard. It sands well, it just sands hard. So I'm gonna continue sanding on this. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to finish, but I'm gonna continue. Here we go. Well, I put it on hyperlapse to try to show you me sanding the hood, and I don't know how long it videoed it, but it's so hot in here that battery keeps melting down on the phone. I keep sticking it in the air conditioning. But anyway, let me show you what's going on here. So this is looking really good. You know, this hood, I can't complain about this at all. You know, it's just got a few little holidays I'm working on. Just a few. They're not bad. I mean, this is really close. Really, really close. It's just so hard, man. It's I don't know if it's wearing out the sandpaper or what, but you know, I'm gonna put another piece of 80 on here, but it's this stuff is like hard like a rock. It doesn't sand very easily. So we're gonna keep going, but this looks really, really good. I'm very pleased with the way the hood's coming out. All right, let's not sugarcoat it. I didn't blow myself off before I turned the camera on. I mean, look at me. I'm a pillar of dust. I'm sweating. It's hot as can be. I can't take anymore. So let me show you the trunk. Trunk is looking awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I mean, it is beautiful. It just feels like glass. So this is what we want it to look like. We want it to look like this, where you can't see anything. A little bitty, teeny tiny little bit here, but not much. I mean, you know, look, this is sanding. I don't know if you can tell, see it a little splotchy, but it's sanding into the deeper layers of primer. So the polyester sitting on top, the primer I'm sanding to that below. Just barely skirting the metal here, and that's just because I was nosing over the edge. But it is looking good. I haven't touched this passenger side at all, but I'm exhausted. So, truth told, I started this weekend. I started, this morning. I came out here and I figured out that gun. And man, I got stuff in my eyes. Figured out that gun. The primer. I shot it with primer, let it sit for a couple of hours, and then started working on it. And it's getting there. But this has been a long day. I'm going to go ahead and release that other video where I at least look decent. And then I think I'm going to have to pick this up, if not tomorrow. Maybe 4th of July might work, I don't know. But we'll be back, so stay tuned. All right, we're back at it. Whew, I'll tell you what, yesterday I took the wind out of my sails. I primed Christine, did the whole thing, and then I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and start sanding. And I sanded the hood, the trunk, and the driver's side, leaving me only the passenger side, quarter, front fender, and door. And so I'll come back to it because I was just dying by the end of the day. It's 95 degrees outside. It's 95 degrees outside again right now. I'm going to continue working on this. I got to get this done. A few words about this primer, though. This primer, it sands. It's very difficult to sand. It dries rock hard. The sandpaper doesn't cut it. I got used to that body fill, the Roberlo, which the weight of the board basically just cuts into it. But this, you have to muscle into it. You have to lean into it, and it's just a strain to do. It's difficult. The other thing is, when I sprayed it straight out of the can without any reducer, any thinner. So when it sprayed, it left a real thick orange peel, and because it's so hard, it's difficult to sand through that orange peel, and you're fighting that orange peel until you can get to a surface that you're really looking for. So if I had to do it again, I'd probably thin it. I'd probably thin it and put thinner coats on than what I did and just came out the can and then just put one on. So I'm going to continue sanding, but wish me luck because it's too hot. All right, a couple of quick notes. So it's sanding a lot easier today. It's been curing for a little less than, right at 24 hours. It's right at about 24 hours, maybe a few hours longer than that. But it's sanding a lot easier. So yesterday I sanded it between 3 and 5 hours of shooting it. And today I'm at least 24 hours after shooting it. And I'm telling you, it's sanding a lot easier. But another thing is this product kicks up so much dust. It is everywhere in this garage. It's terrible. I mean, I can't. It's all over everything. It produces a lot of debris on the floor. All right, I'm going to continue sanding, but this is going a lot quicker. I've got a few flaws here. I'm going to end up having to pick up a few low spots here. Had a high dimple here that was coming up, so I didn't want to sand too far past that. I need to dent that in and do a little bit more work here in this at this edge, but I'm going to continue sanding through. right, it's so hot in the garage that the camera keeps conking out. I don't discover it until 10 minutes later. But I've been having to stick the phone in the air conditioner to cool it off so that the battery cools down and it'll continue to record. But I'm not going to be able to do any more time lapse in this, so I've finished this door. It looks good. There's a few little flaws, and that's the point, you know? I'm trying to find the flaws. I'm going to take care of the flaws, and this thing's going to get better and better and better. So now the last thing I got to do is that rear quarter panel. I'm not even going to try to video it, so just stand by. All right, so here's where we're at the end of day 2. So I've got everything sanded. I hit it all with 80 grit, with the DA, with the jitterbug, the air file, whatever you want to call it. And now I'm going around the car and I found all the flaws and I've marked them with a pencil. So I've got 2 different spots that I'm going to deal with, or 2 different types. I've got one that I'm going to spray some more polyester primer on, and the second type of flaw is a little bit deeper. I'm going to use a little bit of body filler on. It's just like small little spots that I would feel better about doing it that way. So I'm going to do that. But let me show you where I'm at. I walked all the way around the car with a pencil and marked. So like, I'm going to go ahead and shoot primer in this area along that line, in a couple low spots here, a couple low spots on the door, the edge of the door. I've got a spot down here where I need a little bit of body filler, a little spot that I missed. And then around this rear wheel well, I'm going to hit that with the polyester. A little bitty tiny low spot here I think would benefit from it. A little pocket here, there. You can kind of get the idea. That's my plan. May not be the greatest plan, but it's my plan. It's what I'm going to do. I've already got some comments today on the polyester primer. And, you know, when I wrap this video up, I'll give you guys a good rundown on what I think. But this is where I'm at, so I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, come back in a couple of days, sand it, I'll show you that, and then we'll wrap this video up. Then, see you in a bit. Hey, all right, now it's day 3. Day 3. I'm gonna keep this short, sweet, and simple. I've been editing this video, and it's long, and it's boring. So I'm gonna try to improve that. I'm gonna try to fix that. But let me show you the last thing we're gonna do. This is gonna be it, and then we'll kill it. So I went, after I got off camera last time, I sprayed that polyester primer in certain spots. This has been sitting for a couple of days. You can see that the bright pink is dulled over a couple of days. So I don't know what that is, if that's just time or if that's heat. But you can see where I've sprayed it. I'm gonna go ahead and take the sander, and I'm gonna sand all this, a little bit on the hood, and over on this side. I did a little bit of body filler. Said body filler I put right here, over here, and then on the other side on the rocker panel. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this sanded, and that's gonna be it. One thing I can't overemphasize enough about this product is it just creates a ridiculous amount of dust. I'm going to show you the floor before I sweep it. I got to clean this out. I mean, this is just ridiculous. It's everywhere. It is everywhere. I mean, it's so thick. So thick. It's all over everything. It's all over all my walls. It's all over absolutely everything. It's all over me. All right, it's a multi-day process. So where I've been so far is I've gone all the way around the car, sanded the entire car with the power sander. Started with 180, 180, and then I went to 80 grit, and then I went with a pencil, marked everything off, and sprayed that again, let that cure. Then I sanded that with the power sander. Now come back again and sprayed over some of the still low spots, and now I'm sanding those by hand, and it's working really well. I want to show you how it's coming along. So let me show you a spot. So I'm at a spot on the passenger side front fender, and this is a little bit low before. Watch, I'm going to show you how when I'm hitting it with my Durablock and some 80 grit, in fact this is even some worn 80 grit, I'm going to sand through this, and you're going to see the orange peel come through first, and then you're going to notice that everything is just going to blend. It's going to blend. We're going to be right on top of where we're going to be. So we're looking for the low spots. Want to make sure I don't hit any metal. Go in a couple of different directions, keep the block on the flat. Let me stop there and take a look. So you can start to see there's a little circle coming through here. So I'm going through the previous layer. And now I'm going to go ahead and continue sanding this. And this ought to flatten out. It might still be a little bit low right here. And there it went. Now it's flat, completely flat. Everything right there. Completely flat. So I'm getting into what I believe is a little bit of body filler right here. I can see a little mark. You can see how this polyester filler has filled in. But now I'm by hand with a flat block, and it's perfectly flat. It's really on top of it. It's perfect. Just barely starting to scuff metal here and here. Into a little bit of primer, body filler. So that's how it's working out. So I'm going to continue, finish this, and then we're going to wrap this up. All right, the grand reveal. It's been 4 days getting to this point, and I just finished wiping her down with lacquer thinner. Finished sanding everything. Did a lot of body work. Some more body filler in there. It's like I probably could have stood to do a little bit more body work before I hit that polyester primer. But live and learn. I'm glad that I did it. Let me go ahead and show you how it came out. There she is. You can see, I don't know if you can tell, there's a pink hue to everything. You know, it's like the gray. This is the gray. That's the original primer. And then this has all got a pink hue. So every place you see pink is where that polyester filler was. Now, still got some flaws. Still got a little bit of like orange peel in here. But I ended up having to, as I block sanded it, that I believe is new fill. I put new fill. Some of it I went into the original fill. So that's the original fill underneath. So by the time I got it level and decked, so what you have is the original fill. That's the Roberlo Maxi Fill, Roberlo Maxi Light, primer, and then if you see the light, there's the polyester in there. So that's what it took to get that flat. Ended up doing more body work on little detail parts, but she looks really good. I'm getting ready to primer. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up some more primer and go ahead and do that, but not in this episode. That'll be the next episode. Had to do a lot of body work on this door. This, believe it or not, sanded into this. This remained. This is new fill. That's new fill. So you've got a mix of old primer, new primer, polyester, filler, old filler, new filler throughout the entire stage. But now, I mean, it's really coming along. Really, really, really coming along. So I decided I'm going to do this video backwards. I'm going to sit down here in a minute. I'm going to give you the verdict, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you've watched to this point, you've already seen that I'm about to do in a minute. But I'm going to put that in the front of the video because that's what most people are going to tune in. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. If you're liking my videos, please give them a thumbs up. I'm tired. If you're liking the channel, I'd appreciate a subscription. Until I see you next time, please take care of yourself like I'm going to do. Take care of myself. Maybe with a libation tonight because I'm tired. So until next time, see you. Cheers.